welcome back to Newfoundland and Labrador Studies 2205. This is Unit 3, The Country Grows, Section 2, Lesson 3, Video 2, on Economic Results and Impacts. First, let's talk about economic results. After 1910, pulp and paper began to dominate the forestry industry, which we mentioned in the last video. To stimulate the growth of the industry, the government offered land tenure agreements to companies. These agreements had companies assume the primary responsibility of managing lands for the rights to benefit from the resources, although the land still technically belonged to the government. And of course, land belonging to the government is an issue for us to talk about in another lesson as well. There were three forms of agreements: a freehold agreement, which awarded exclusive possession of the land; leasehold agreement, which awarded the right to use the land, forest, minerals, and water in exchange for a low annual rent; or a timber license, which is where a recipient could claim property rights on the forest resource only. I wanted to bring your attention to this picture on the slide. This is from Grand Falls, which took in the mill and the powerhouse and all of those infrastructures. We're going to talk about that on the next slide. The forestry industry began to attract international attention. Harold Hemsworth, a newsprint mogul from Britain, established a pulp and paper mill in Grand Falls, forming the Anglo-Newfoundland Development Company. They opened a mill, a powerhouse, and a company town, with the mill beginning production in 1909. If you haven't heard the term company town before, it means a town that has been established and sponsored by a company in order to support the industry that they're building. Another large mill was established in Corner Brook, which is pictured below, in 1925 by the Newfoundland Power and Paper Company, which was sold off then to the International Paper Company. The mill in Corner Brook was the largest paper mill in the world for many years, and was taken over by Bowater Lloyd in 1938, and is run today by Kruger International. The paper mills employed about 1,000 people each at their peak, and in 1935, approximately 5% of the total workforce in Newfoundland was employed by the forestry industry. Let's talk about the impact on lifestyle and culture. People who worked as loggers for the pulp and paper mills endured tough working conditions. They worked for contractors who were paid by the companies on a fixed sum of money, so they didn't directly work for the pulp and paper mill. Often the company did not pay the contractor adequately, and the contractor did not provide for all the workers' needs, so you think of like cause and effect. Many contractors tried to spend as little as possible on the loggers' housing and food, as to not cut into their profits. Loggers lived in camps for 6 to 9 months of the year, in overcrowded and drafty bunkhouses, similar to the one depicted on the right. Food was poor, and no pay was given for time off due to work-related injuries. Many loggers were also fishers from outport communities, logging from fall to early spring and then going back home to fish. Conversely, workers in the mills had much better conditions than the loggers, and working in company towns meant they had a comfortable home to return to after a day's work. This image at the bottom is of a street in Corner Brook. This street actually still looks similar today. You can't pick it out if you're in the area. Of course, the trees are larger. The road looks different because it has been expanded and paved, and other infrastructure has come into place. The company built homes so that mill workers had a place to go. So now it's time to review. I'm going to ask you to please complete the activities in Brightspace, and I hope you have a great day.